Welcome to a new 10-part series of the new Motorsports Kenya car show. Now in this series we're going to be going on track, we're going to be going off-roading, we're going to be having many challenges, and most importantly we're going to be reviewing normal road cars. Now today we have the Audi A4 2011 2-liter turbo. With the 80 series, there are 4 platforms with this particular one. From 1966 to 1994, there was the B1, B2, B3 and B4. And these ones were known mostly for their boxy design. With the second generation, Audi came up with the Audi A4 series. There was the B5, B6, B7, B8 that we have here with us today, and the B9 platform. So with the B8 platform, Audi produced many engines for this car. Now you could get it as a 1.8 liter turbo, a 2-liter turbo, like what we have here, a 3-liter supercharged, or a 3.2 liter NA. Now there's always going to be the beast, the RS4. RS4 came out with a 4.2 liter V8. Sadly, that's what we have with us today. This is only 200 horsepower. But you know, 200 horsepower on Nairobi roads, it works. We're going to go on the roads today, we're going to see it working. Now, one advantage of the Audi A4 is the Quattro System, 7-speed S-tronic gearbox. When I tell you that this thing works on our Kenyan roads without too much power, trust me, it works. With this being the S-Line package, you get certain differences from the regular Audi A4. Now, some of the differences is such as suspension. You guys can see this Audi A4 sits a little bit lower than the normal Audi A4. Another difference is the wheels. This one comes in 18-inch rims and there's a door sill right here, making it look a little bit wider. Another difference is at the back, you have a boot spoiler that makes it look more sporty if you're after looks. With the Audi being more of a daily driver, you know, you need practicality. So let's talk about the trunk. The trunk is a 480-liter capacity trunk. Now, when I talk about 480 liters, it might be a little bit hard to understand, but just think of it, you could pour 480 liters inside here and it would fit. Now, physically, you could fit golf clubs in here, you could fit large suitcases in here, and most importantly, you actually have a spare wheel. You know, many cars you see nowadays don't really come with spare wheels. They come with all these fancy gadgets, tire repair kits, pumps, but with this, at least you're sure, if you're going mashinani, you're safe. So we've all seen the exterior of the Audi A4, let's all see how it drives. When it comes to the transmission, the Audi A4 has launch control, which is a bit of a gimmick, but it works. So to put in launch control, you put it in sport, turn off traction, foot hard on the brake, it drives to 3000 RPM. So it will do 0 to 100 in around 6.3 seconds, which isn't too bad, but you see also the brakes. The brakes are also really good. So if you're looking for something sporty, this will work for you. Personally, this is one of my favorite cars for very many reasons. So let me give you a couple of reasons why I really like the A4. One, if you're looking for a very comfortable daily driver, considering your options such as the BMW 320i or the Mercedes-Benz C200, the CGI variant, my personal opinion would be go for the Audi. Reason being, it's very sophisticated when it comes to its looks, like from the LEDs at the front and the interior feel. Now, this is an S-Line trim. In the S-Line trim, the interior is kind of like blacked out. So you have A, B, C pillars that are black and the roof lining is also black. The seats, you also have an S-Line badge on the seats, and the seats actually really nice. They are kind of like bucket seats, so they hold you in place. So even if you take a corner, you know, they hold you very well. So it's quite nice. Another reason someone would consider an Audi A4, the Audi A4 with the 2-liter turbo Quattro can be considered to be sort of like a sporty sedan. Now, I'd call it a sporty sedan for 200 horsepower. But you know, you should also consider you could get an Audi S4, you could get a BMW M3, you could get a C63. But you see, for a daily driver, that's kind of economical and refined. Like right now, I'm doing 50 kilometers per hour, and you know the refinement. You guys can hear me very well, but as soon as I open my window, see, you could barely hear what I'm saying because the car insulates road noise very well, which is quite nice. But all German cars do this, from your Volkswagens to your Mercedes. They all insulate you very well, and you also feel very secure. Now, when it comes to the safety of the A4 and other German cars, these guys are very particular when it comes to safety. Safety is always #1 priority. You know, other manufacturers, especially from Japan, they might decide to cut some costs here and there. So if you're buying your 8-year-old car from Japan, you only get 2 airbags and maybe ABS. But you know, when you're getting a German car, you get all the features from ESP. You have 10 airbags plus, you have traction control, you have all these features. Now with the A4, you also get the Quattro system. Now let's talk a little bit about the Quattro system. Quattro basically means all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive, you guys know what all-wheel drive is. All-wheel drive is whereby it powers all 4 wheels, and if it detects slip, it can send more power to one side or the other side. And if you lose traction, the car can actually save you. So if you're driving around in the rain or if you're driving in the mud, God forbid you drive around in the mud, because if you're driving an Audi, why would you be mudding around? Anyway, when it comes to safety with the A4, the Quattro system is actually very, very nice. And you know, it came out with the Audi A4 series back in the 1980s, whereby it won a lot of Group B rallies. If you guys are fan of rallies and you've watched Audi win the Group B rallies back in the day, those guys only had like 300 horsepower. Okay, there's some which had like 500 horsepower. But back then, the restrictions were not as strict as today. But when the Audi A4, not the Audi A4, when the Audi A4 series came out with the Quattro system, these guys dominated the whole series. Because the Quattro system, it's amazing. One of the reasons it's amazing is a normal all-wheel drive system has a transfer case that's very heavy, and the all-wheel drive system is always very bulky. But when Audi engineers came out with the Quattro system, it was a smaller unit. Everything was housed in one transmission unit. So everything was behind the engine. Now, when it comes to the Quattro system again, there were 2 types of Quattro. Okay, currently there are 2 types of Quattro. There's those that come in the linear engine variants, and there's those in the transverse engines. With the transverse engines, these are some like the Audi TT, Audi TTRS, Audi RS3. So these are the engines that are left to right. So you have the gearbox on the complete left, and they're attached to a sort of transfer case that can send power to the back. Now, these are primarily front-wheel drive cars, but if the car detects slip, it can engage a clutch pack and send power to the rear. So with these transverse engines, you get the best of both worlds. So if you're looking for a very good daily driver that's maybe a little bit economical and fun to drive, and you can track it if you want to, it's a perfect car. But with the linear engines, which is such as the Audi A4, the Audi A5, A6, the linear engines whereby engine is front to back. So if you open the hood on this one, you'll see it's quite a long car. And so with the transmission in this, it's behind the engine. So you get a sort of tunnel in between you. So if you have a passenger, you'll notice you have a hump. So it makes the car feel cocooned in here. So the transmission is quite big in this. Transmission is from the engine all the way to around, let's say, somewhere around here, then connects to a prop shaft to the back. Now, when the Audi A4 series came out, this was the pioneering Audi system, the Audi Quattro system. It was very original to this, which makes it back to its origin. So let's talk a little bit about the transmission. Now, the transmission is a 7-speed S-tronic gearbox. It's a DSG gearbox. What a DSG gearbox is, it's a dual clutch gearbox. So with a dual clutch gearbox, you have 2 sets of clutches. You have clutch set A and you have clutch set B. Clutch set A has the odd number of gears. So like with this is a 7-speed. So with clutch set A, you have gear 1, gear 3, gear 5, and gear 7. With the even gear set, a clutch set B, you have 2, 4, and 6. So let me see if I can demonstrate what it does. Now, with this type of system, let's say you're driving around in 5th gear, or let's say 4th gear. You're driving around in 4th gear. So if you're driving around in 4th gear, 5th gear and 3rd gear are always going to be pre-engaged. So if you shift down, it's very immediate. So you see, shift down, you accelerate, it's very immediate, and it's quite a lot of fun. So the advantage is the shifts are very quick. But yes, it's a very fun gearbox, and if you're a car enthusiast, you'll have a lot of fun with this, especially if you like DSG farts like all like all VW Audi guys. But when it comes to reliability of the 7-speed in this particular one, this one comes with something called a dry clutch system, and they are known to, after 100,000 kilometers, 150,000 kilometers, they'll wear out. The clutch pack will wear out. So you need to think about that when it comes to servicing. But you know, okay. But trust me, it's a lot of fun. Now, when it comes to the engine of the Audi, It's only a 200 horsepower, okay, 211 horsepower engine. It's only 211 horsepower, but from a 2-liter turbocharged engine, you get quite a lot of performance out of it. The main reason being it has quite a lot of torque. It has 350 Newton meters of torque, and you can feel the torque coming in from around 1500 RPM. Yeah, 1500 RPM to around 5000 RPM is when you feel most of the grunt of the car. Now, the reason I'm talking about torque is, you know, I talked about this being more of a daily driver. When it comes to being a daily driver, you need torque. Turbo cars are good at producing torque. Now, when you're driving around and you feel like overtaking someone, the push you feel when you're driving, that's what torque is. How fast the car pushes you along. Now, you guys always know, okay, I don't know if you guys know, but turbo diesel cars have a lot of torque. If you guys have driven a Land Rover, the turbo diesels one, or the Prado with the turbo diesel, you'll know what I'm talking about. Also, another reason to talk about torque. Torque also comes in pulling power. So with tractors, I always wonder why tractors are diesels and they only produce 40 horsepower, but they have a lot of torque. So you see, the 2-liter turbo is not the most reliable engine. This is a fact for all Audi A4 drivers, especially the pre-2011 ones. These Audis came out of the factory with quite a lot of defects. Now, some of the defects that came with the Audi are such as undersized pistons in the engine. So with the undersized pistons, these cars had a lot of issues with oil consumption, whereby oil would seep through the pistons, and you know, you'd get a lot of misfires, you'd get a lot of blue smoke in the exhaust, and many guys didn't really know what was going on. So in 2011, Audi corrected this in Japan and all the other markets, whereby they recalled the cars and fixed the issue. So if you're buying an Audi A4 from 2011, it should be quite safe. Now, another issue apart from the pistons is the timing chain. Most guys who buy cars in Kenya, you buy in second-hand cars, 7-year-old cars, 6-year-old cars, 8-year-old cars, and most of them come from Singapore or Japan. Mileage is always going to be an issue. These cars come with averagely around 100,000 kilometers. With these Audis, they have a timing chain system. A timing chain system needs to be replaced every roughly 100,000 kilometers. So when you're importing your car, make sure that timing chain service is the one thing you do. Reason being, if the timing chain were to snap, you do a lot of damage to your engine. You probably need to buy a new slim engine, which is going to cost you way more than what a timing chain is going to cost you. Some other issues, I talked about misfires. Misfires are always going to be common in all VW Audi groups vehicles, especially the coil packs. Coil packs fail after some time, so you might think about changing coil packs. And oil consumption also is a bit of an issue. But apart from all these issues, it's not a bad car. Comfortable, reliable if you take good care of it. It performs well. Economy. 2-liter turbo. Right now we're doing 8.4 kilometers per liter. But trust me, I've driven this car a couple of times. You could do 14 kilometers per liter if you wish. So it's something that it just depends on your it depends on your right leg, which is, you know, it just depends. Now, when it comes to competition, I talked about the BMW 320i, Mercedes-Benz C200 CGI. If you're looking for a driver-focused car, you'd probably go for the BMW. If you're looking for elegance, you'd probably go for the Benz. But if you're looking for something that's all round, something that stands out from the crowd, something that's a little bit more unique, something that's very tunable, these Audis are very tunable. If you guys attend Masinga TT, I know all you car enthusiasts who come for Masinga TT, you see the Audis that perform there. They're very similar to this, but this one is stock. But at one point, they are very similar to this. So when it comes to performance modes, it's very friendly. So guys, this is going to be a 10-part series. I want you guys in the comment section to list down 5 cars you guys would like to see. It can be anything, even if it means us flying down to South Africa or Europe and reviewing a couple of cars. It's all about having fun. So that marks the end of the video today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. So please like, share, subscribe to our channel. More content is coming soon. This car has been spectacular. Hopefully the next cars on the show you guys will also enjoy, same way I enjoy the cars. So next time.